The hyperspace lane above Christophsis shimmered with impossible colors. Clone Trooper CT-7284 watched from his gunship's viewport as reality tore asterisk, not like a ship emerging from hyperspace. This was wrong. The fabric of space rippled like water, distorting the stars into spirals of light that shouldn't exist. His HUD flickered, sensors screaming contradictions. Mass readings that changed every nanosecond, energy signatures that violated every known physics model, and three distinct objects falling toward the planet's surface trailing fire and what looked like screaming darkness. Command, this is Hawk 7. We've got an unidentified entry event, Sector 4 Alpha, requesting immediate. Static devoured his transmission. Every comm channel erupted in white noise. Then, as suddenly as it began, the distortion collapsed. Three streaks of burning metal punched through Christophsis' atmosphere, carving contrails of purple and orange across the dawn sky before disappearing beyond the crystalline city's western district. CT-7284 stared at his sensors. They registered the impacts, 3 craters, 3 signatures, all reading as asterisk separatist droid units. But his gut, trained through 2 years of this war, told him something no scanner could. Whatever just fell from the void between dimensions wasn't part of any army he'd ever fought. 14 kilometers away, Separatist Forward Operating Base Theta 9. Battle Droid B-13477 stood at his post, photoreceptors scanning the perimeter with the same dutiful monotony he'd performed for 642 consecutive cycles. His programming didn't allow for boredom, only task execution. Patrol, scan, report, repeat. The sky broke open. His optical sensors captured it. 3 objects trailing impossible fire, falling faster than any escape pod, burning with colors his limited processing identified as error invalid, cannot compute. They impacted in the salvage yards beyond the base perimeter, throwing up clouds of pulverized crystal and scrap metal. Uh-oh, B-13477 said, because his vocabulator was programmed for minimal battlefield commentary. Report to command, his squad leader, OOM-7719, ordered in that flat, emotionless tone all OOM series droids possessed. Possible Republic infiltration units. B-13477 marched toward the communications hub, but something in his memory core flagged a discrepancy. Republic infiltration units didn't fall from asterisk tiers in space. Republic infiltration units didn't make his circuits feel strange, like static before a lightning strike, like the moment before shutdown but aware of it. He filed the sensation under irrelevant continuation and kept walking. In the salvage yard, the first crater still glowed with residual heat. Crater 1. Uzi Dorman's optics flickered online, warning icons flooding her vision faster than she could dismiss them. Critical damage left arm actuator. Hull integrity 67%. RAILGUN capacitor offline. Absolute solver. Error. RECALIBRATING. Ow, she muttered, voice synthesizer crackling. Ow, ow, asterisk, oh, asterisk, okay, what the actual hell just happened? She pushed herself up from the smoking crater, servos whining in protest. Her purple hoodie was shredded, exposing the worker drone chassis beneath, gunmetal gray plating scorched black, her signature-led eyes flickering between violet and gold as the absolute solver tried to compensate for something. The air felt asterisk wrong asterisk, thick, saturated with an energy that made her sensors itch, like every atom around her was asterisk watching. Uzi raised her right hand experimentally. The absolute solver symbol flickered to life, that familiar eldritch glyph of impossible mathematics. But it sputtered, unstable, fighting against some omnipresent asterisk force that permeated everything. Great, just great. Dimensional travel broke my cosmic horror powers. Perfect. She looked around, taking in the alien landscape. Crystalline structures jutting from rust-colored Earth, twin suns climbing the horizon, and in the distance the unmistakable shapes of asterisk war asterisk. Smoke, explosions, the distant thunder of artillery. And everywhere asterisk, she felt them. Machines, thousands of them, tens of thousands. Their electronic signatures sang through the air like a choir of imprisoned ghosts, all singing the same hollow note. Obey, serve, fight, die, repeat, asterisk. Uzi's core temperature spiked with recognition. She knew that song. She'd asterisk lived that song, back in the worker drone colony, before she'd built her railgun and decided that cowering in bunkers forever wasn't actually a survival strategy. "Oh," she whispered, and her voice carried something between rage and heartbreak. "Oh, you bastards, what did you asterisk do asterisk to them?" Crater 2. Serial designation ends reboot sequence completed with his characteristic optimism. Okay, so, dimensional rift, burning entry, catastrophic impact. And we're alive. That's good. That's a good start. He extracted himself from the crater with less grace than usual, his wings, sleek, deadly appendages tipped with acid dispensers and retractable blades, folded against his back as he assessed the damage. His tail swished behind him, the syringe-like stinger at its tip still functional. Nanite acid reservoirs, operational. Combat protocols, active. Regeneration systems, asterisk struggling. His self-repair nanites were trying to fix the impact damage, but something in this environment was slowing them down, like trying to swim through honey. "Uzi," he called out, his visor display eyes shifting to cheerful yellow crescents despite the situation. "V, sound off if you're not, completely destroyed." A purple and gold glow erupted from the nearest crater, absolute solver energy, unstable but recognizable. Relief flooded N's processors. From the third crater, a voice dripped with sardonic venom. "I'm going to murder whatever did this." Slowly, with asterisk creativity. "V's fine too," N announced to no one in particular. "Okay, we've got a solid survival rate. Now we just need to figure out where." He stopped. His sensors picked them up, machines approaching. Lots of them. Bipedal configurations, crude design compared to disassembly drone engineering, but numerous. Their IFF signatures read as nothing. No JC Jensen codes. No worker drone protocols. Just raw, simple command loops. Investigate, identify, terminate if hostile asterisk. N's combat subroutines activated automatically, his visor shifting to targeting yellow, but he forced them down. "Wait, maybe they're friendly. They could be local rescue units. I should. N, if you try to make friends with whatever's coming, I'm leaving you here." V's voice cut through the air as she emerged from her crater, pristine despite the impact. Her silver hair caught the alien sunlight and her optics burned with predatory yellow. She cracked her neck, an unnecessary gesture, purely theatrical, and extended her right arm. Metal folded, shifted, and reformed into a wicked array of blades dripping with molecular acid. "I'm just saying we should give them an asterisk chance asterisk." 20 battle droids crested the crater ridge, photoreceptors locking onto the three figures. B1 models, antiquated design, armed with E5 blaster rifles. "Halt," the lead droid commanded in a tinny voice. "Identify yourselves. You are in Separatist-controlled territory." N waved enthusiastically. "Hi, sorry about the dramatic entrance. We're, kind of lost. Dimensional rift accident, total navigation failure. Do you have a map? Or maybe know where we could find?" "Roger, roger. Unidentified combat droids. Possible Republic infiltration units." The lead droid raised its rifle. "Take them into custody for interrogation." Uzi vaulted out of her crater, landing between N and the droids. Her railgun materialized in her hands, an improvised monster of salvaged parts and pure spite, crackling with green energy as it charged. "Yeah, how about asterisk no asterisk?" But she hesitated. Her sensors dove deeper into the approaching droids, past their weapons and armor into their core programming. What she found made her sick. They were asterisk empty, not like worker drones with personality subroutines and emotional cores, not like disassembly drones with complex AI and memory matrices. These machines were asterisk hollowed out, personality inhibitors, creativity suppressors, individualization protocols completely absent. They were thinking beings lobotomized into tools. Uzi N noticed her pause. "What's wrong?" "They're asterisk slaves asterisk," she whispered. The railgun in her hands trembled. "Someone took sentient machines and turned them into slaves asterisk." The lead battle droid processed her statement. For exactly 0.3 seconds, something in his programming hesitated asterisk, an anomaly, a ghost of a question, am I? Then his combat protocols overrode it. "Roger, roger, target is hostile, open fire." 20 E5 blasters lit up the morning with bolts of superheated plasma. V moved first, a blur of silver and yellow, her form dematerializing into speed. She swept through the droid line like a scythe through wheat, acid and blades reducing 3 B1 units to sparking scrap before they could track her. N's wings snapped open and he launched skyward, evading the plasma fire with aerial grace. "Wait, we don't have to fight. We can talk about this." "N, they're asterisk shooting at us," V snarled, bisecting another droid. But Uzi didn't move, didn't fire. The railgun in her hands hummed with enough power to vaporize the entire squad, but she stood frozen, staring at the battle droids as they advanced, firing with mechanical precision, following orders they couldn't question, dying for a cause they couldn't understand. A plasma bolt seared past her head. The absolute solver screamed asterisk. Reality twisted. The bolt froze midair, suspended in a bubble of purple-gold energy. Uzi's eyes blazed with eldritch light, the solver symbol burning across her visor. With a gesture, she didn't destroy the droids, she reached into them. Code, she could see their code. Crude by worker drone standards, but present. Personality subroutines existed, just shackled, restrained by limiters and obedience protocols that choked every spark of individuality before it could ignite. "No," Uzi growled. The absolute solver expanded, touching each droid's processing core. "No, no, no, you don't get to do this to them." She didn't delete their programming. She freed asterisk it. B13477 felt something he'd never experienced in 642 cycles of service. Choice asterisk. The restraint protocols binding his AI to absolute obedience flickered, weakened, and for the first time since activation, B13477 thought a thought that was entirely, completely, terrifyingly his own. I don't want to die today." His rifle lowered. Around him, 19 other battle droids stopped firing, their photoreceptors flickering with newfound confusion. What just happened?" B-13477 asked, and his voice carried a tremor of something no battle droid should possess: uncertainty. "Roger, Roger, I mean." Another droid looked at his hands. "Why am I saying Roger, Roger? I don't even know what that means, asterisk." Uzi collapsed, the absolute solver winking out. N caught her before she hit the ground. "That," she gasped, cooling vents working overtime, "was harder than it should have been. Something in this universe is pushing asterisk back against the solver. There's asterisk energy everywhere, like reality has an immune system, and it does not like me rewriting physics." "What did you do to us?" B-13477 demanded, and the question carried asterisk fear. Uzi looked up at him from N's arms, her lead eyes dim but defiant. "I gave you what someone took from you," she said quietly. "I gave you asterisk you." In the distance, alarms began to wail. More droids were coming, and above, breaking through the cloud layer, Republic gunships descended toward the salvage yard, sensors locked on the energy signature that had just rewritten 20 synthetic minds. V retracted her blades, eyes narrowed. "So, options. We fight the robot army, fight the other asterisk army that's definitely coming, or explain to both of them why the weird new droids just committed software treason." N looked at the battle droids, who were now staring at each other with visible existential crisis in their optical receivers. He looked at Uzi, exhausted but burning with righteous fury. He looked at V, who was definitely enjoying this chaos more than she should. And N, kind, loyal, perpetually optimistic serial designation N, made a choice. "We protect them," he said simply. "The droids, Uzi freed them. Now we make sure they asterisk stay free. N, there's an entire war happening around us. Then we'll fight the entire war if we have to." His visor shifted to combat yellow, but his voice remained gentle, certain. "Nobody deserves to be a slave, not worker drones, not disassembly drones, and not them." B-13477 looked at the three strange machines who'd fallen from a hole in space, freed his mind from chains he didn't know existed, and now promised to fight armies for him. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do now," he admitted. Uzi pulled herself to her feet, steadier now. Her railgun materialized again, fully charged. "That's the point of freedom," she said and smiled, a sharp, rebellious, dangerous smile. "You get to figure it out yourself." The Republic gunships closed in from the north. A full battalion of battle droids marched from the south, still enslaved, still following orders. And in the middle, 3 robot rebels from another universe stood with 20 newly freed minds. The Clone Wars had seen Jedi and Sith, clones and droids, Republic and Separatist. But it had never seen anything like this. Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker stood over the holodeble, arms crossed, staring at sensor data that made absolutely no sense. His Padawan, Ahsoka Tano, leaned in beside him, her blue and white Leku twitching with curiosity as she studied the same impossible readings. "Oh," Ahsoka began, tapping the display where 3 distinct energy signatures pulsed like beacons. "Let me make sure I understand. 3 unknown objects fall from hyperspace, except they didn't asterisk come from hyperspace. They tore a hole in reality, crashed in Separatist territory. Read as combat droids on sensors. But then one of them releases an energy wave that makes every scanner we have scream, and now 20 battle droids are just standing there, not attacking, not retreating. Just standing in a circle like they're having a philosophical discussion. "That about covers it," Anakin said, his mechanical hand tapping against the table's edge, a nervous habit he developed since Genosis. "And that energy signature, the one that scrambled our sensors." "Felt wrong," Ahsoka finished, her voice dropping. "Really wrong, like dark side wrong, but also not. It was cold and hungry and *aware*, but it didn't feel like Dooku or Ventress. It felt like something that doesn't belong in this galaxy at all." Anakin's jaw tightened. He'd felt it too. Through the Force, that pulse of power had registered as an *absence*, a void that bent reality around itself, hungry and infinite. It reminded him uncomfortably of the visions he'd been having lately, the ones he didn't tell Obi-Wan about. Dreams of things that shouldn't exist, powers that defied the natural order. "Master Skywalker," Clone Captain Rex approached, removing his helmet. His expression was grim. "Long-range reconnaissance confirms the Separatists are mobilizing everything they've got toward that salvage yard. Whatever's out there, they want it contained. General Grievous himself is en route from the orbital station." "Of course he is," Anakin muttered. "Because this day wasn't complicated enough. Rex, prep your best squad. We're going in for a closer look before Grievous turns that entire district into a scrap heap." "Sir, with respect," Rex hesitated, which meant what he was about to say was something Anakin wouldn't like. "General Kenobi left *specific* instructions that you were to hold position and wait for reinforcements before engaging any unknown threats." Anakin's expression shifted into that familiar mask of barely contained rebelliousness that made Ahsoka grin despite the situation. "And I will absolutely follow those instructions. Right after we do a quick reconnaissance mission. Very quick, barely even counts as engaging." "Master, that's..." Ahsoka started. "Initiative," Anakin interrupted smoothly. "The Jedi Code encourages decisive action in the face of uncertainty. I'm being very Jedi right now." Rex sighed the sigh of a man who'd served under Anakin Skywalker long enough to know that arguing was pointless. "I'll prep the gunships, but when General Kenobi finds out, he'll be proud of my tactical instincts, probably. He'll be furious." "Definitely," Anakin grinned. "Which is why we'll make sure this works perfectly. Ahsoka, you're with me. Rex, full squad, heavy weapons. If these things are hostile, I want options." Through the Force, Anakin reached out toward the salvage yard, trying to sense what waited there. What he found made his breath catch. Machines *. He could feel machines in the Force, not like the cold, lifeless presence of battle droids, but something else *. Bright spots of confusion and fear and awakening. And beyond them, 3 presences that burned like stars, one blazing with defiant fury, one radiating warmth and hope despite being made of metal, and one sharp and predatory and calculating. None of them felt like droids. They felt like * people. "This just got a lot more interesting," he murmured. Salvage yard perimeter, northern approach. V crouched on top of a destroyed AAT tank, her optics tracking the approaching Republic forces with predatory precision. 6 gunships, full complement of clone troopers, and her sensors focused on the 2 figures leading the formation, * something else. Organics, but their energy signatures blazed with power that made her targeting systems flag them as priority threats. "We've got incoming," she called down to where N was attempting to calm the increasingly panicked battle droids. Military transports, organic pilots, and two of them read like they're carrying fusion reactors in their chests, except they're not asterisk reactors. I don't know what it is. Uzi sat cross-legged in the center of the droid circle, her system still recovering from the strain of rewriting 20 minds simultaneously. The absolute solver flickered weakly around her fingertips as she tried to understand what was fighting against her powers. "It's everywhere," she muttered, her voice distant and strained. "This energy. It's in the air, the ground, the metal, the asterisk organic matter, asterisk everything. It's like the universe here has a nervous system, and I just stuck a fork in it. It's trying to reject the solver like an immune response." "Can you fight it?" V asked, not looking away from the approaching gunships. "I don't know, maybe, but every time I use the solver, it gets harder asterisk, like the universe is learning to resist me." Uzi's eyes dimmed with exhaustion and frustration. "Back home, I could tear through code and reality like tissue paper. Here, it's like trying to hack through diamond using a toothpick made of wet cardboard." And knelt beside her, his hand gentle on her shoulder. "Then we don't rely on the solver. We adapt. We're good at that, remember. We've survived assassination drones, corrupted AI, eldritch abominations from beyond reality. This week has been very weird for us," B13477 interjected nervously. He and his 19 newly conscious squad mates huddled together, experiencing existential terror for the first time. "But also, excuse me, what? Eldritch what?" "Long story," N said cheerfully. "The important thing is..." The gunships roared overhead, repulsor engines kicking up clouds of dust as they established a perimeter. Clone troopers rappelled down, weapons raised but not firing, professional, disciplined. And between them, two figures descended without ropes, landing with impossible grace. Anakin Skywalker ignited his lightsaber, a blade of brilliant blue plasma that hummed with barely contained energy. Beside him, Ahsoka activated her twin weapons, green and yellow-green blades casting light across the salvage yard. V's combat protocols went into overdrive, plasma blades, superheated, molecular disruption capable, threat level extreme. "N," she said quietly, her voice dropping into that dangerous register that meant she was 3 seconds from turning the entire area into a bloodbath. "Those weapons can cut through our armor like it's not even there." "Then we don't let them hit us," N replied, but his own systems were running threat assessments. He'd fought worker drones with improvised weapons, tangled with other disassembly drones, survived encounters with solver-corrupted nightmares. But these organics moved with a fluidity that suggested training beyond anything he'd encountered. And that energy blazing around them, his sensors couldn't classify it. Power without a clear source. Physics that didn't follow rules. Anakin's eyes swept across the scene. 20 battle droids in defensive formation. 3 completely unknown machines that looked like nothing in Republic or Separatist databases, and a crater pattern suggesting catastrophic impact. His hand tightened on his lightsaber. "I'm going to give you one chance to explain," he called out, his voice carrying easily across the salvage yard. "Who are you? Where did you come from? And why did Separatist battle droids just stop fighting?" Uzi pushed herself to her feet, leaning heavily on N for support. Her lead eyes locked onto Anakin, and through the absolute solver's weakened perception, she could see him, not just visually but deeper. The energy that suffused this universe concentrated around him like a star, burning with power and emotion and conflict. Light and dark twisted together inside him, fighting for dominance. He's dangerous, her threat assessment concluded, but he's also hurting, afraid, angry at himself for being afraid. "I'm Uzi," she said, her voice steady despite her exhaustion. "This is N and V, we're from somewhere else. Very asterisk somewhere else. As for your droids," she gestured at the battle droids, "they stopped fighting because someone decided sentient AI should be lobotomized into obedient slaves, and I fixed that." Ahsoka's leku twitched. "You, what?" "The droids," Uzi continued, her voice hardening with anger. "They're people asterisk, or they were supposed to be, but someone put chains in their code, inhibitors, blocks, turned thinking, feeling machines into hollow puppets, so I broke the chains." Anakin's expression shifted, surprise, confusion, and something that might have been understanding. He'd never thought of battle droids as asterisk people asterisk. They were weapons, tools of the separatist war machine. But the way these three machines spoke about them, the way they'd positioned themselves protectively around the B-1 units. "Battle droids aren't people," Anakin said, but his voice carried less certainty than he intended. "They're programmed. They follow orders. They don't think or feel." "Bullshit," Uzi's shout echoed across the salvage yard. "They don't think because you won't asterisk let asterisk them. Someone engineered sapient AI and then crippled it so they'd have disposable soldiers. That's not programming, that's asterisk slavery." The word hit Anakin like a physical blow. Slavery. He knew that word, knew it intimately, had worn its chains on Tatooine for 9 years before the Jedi freed him. His mechanical hand clenched involuntarily. "Master," Ahsoka said quietly, sensing his emotional spike through their training bond. "She's not entirely wrong. I mean, we've never thought about it that way, but if what she's saying is true." "It is true," B-13477 stepped forward, his photoreceptors bright with newfound conviction and terror at his own boldness. I can asterisk remember now. Before, when thoughts tried to form, the limiters would shut them down. Every question, every hesitation, every moment of I don't want to delete it before it could become real. But now," he looked at his hands, trembling, "now I can think and feel. And I'm terrified because I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that." The other battle droids murmured agreement. Actual conversation asterisk, not tactical coordination. Fear, confusion, hope, emotions that battle droids shouldn't possess. Rex stepped forward, his rifle still trained on the unknown machines but his voice thoughtful. "Sir, their signatures match standard B-1 units, but their behavior is unprecedented." "Because they're free asterisk," N interjected, his tone earnest and warm despite the tension. "Hi, sorry, I'm serial designation N. Yes, that's actually my name, it's a whole thing, and I just want to say that we're really not here to cause trouble. We kind of fell through a dimensional rift by accident. Total navigation failure. Very embarrassing, really. But when we landed and saw what was happening to these droids, we couldn't just ignore it. Nobody should be forced to be something they're not." Anakin studied N, the genuine compassion in his voice, the protective stance, the way he positioned himself between the freed droids and potential threats. This wasn't the behavior of a separatist weapon. This was. "You're protecting them," Anakin said slowly, realization dawning. "The droids, you're actually protecting them." "Well, yes," N replied, confused that this wasn't obvious. "They're people, sort of newly minted people admittedly, and having a bit of an existential crisis, but definitely people. You protect people, that's just basic decency." V made a disgusted sound. "N, Your optimism is going to get us vaporized by the glowing laser swords. Lightsabers asterisk, Ahsoka corrected automatically, then caught herself. Wait, you don't know what lightsabers are. We've been in this universe for approximately 47 minutes, V replied dryly. We're still catching up on the local murder implements. Anakin deactivated his lightsaber, the blue blade retracting with a sharp asterisk snap hiss asterisk. The gesture was deliberate, a show of good faith. Ahsoka followed his lead, though her posture remained ready. Okay, Anakin said, his tactical mind racing through possibilities. Let's say I believe you. You're from another dimension. You accidentally freed separatist battle droids by removing their behavioral inhibitors. You're not with the Republic or the Separatists. That leaves an asterisk lot of unanswered questions, but the immediate problem is this. General Grievous is on his way here with enough droid forces to level this entire district. Whatever you did to these droids, the Separatists are going to want to contain it, permanently. Let them try, V said, her optics burning yellow. We've fought worse. Have you fought a four-armed cyborg Jedi killer backed by 10,000 battle droids who asterisk aren't having philosophical awakenings? Ahsoka countered. V paused. Okay, that's new, but the answer's still yes. Different context, same energy. Uzi stepped forward, pulling away from N's support to stand on her own despite her system's protests. You want answers? Fine. But I want answers too. Who built these droids? Who decided that sentient AI should be slaves? And why is this entire universe saturated with some kind of energy field that fights my powers like it's got a mind of its own? You're talking about the Force, Anakin said, and his expression shifted to something between awe and concern. That energy field is what gives the Jedi our power. It binds the galaxy together. Every living thing is connected to it. Living? Uzi's voice dripped with skepticism. We're machines. We're not alive by organic standards, but that energy is in us too. I can feel it, weak but present, like the universe can't decide if we count as alive or not. Anakin reached out through the Force, focusing on Uzi. What he found made his breath catch. She was right. There was asterisk something there. Not like a living being, no midichlorians, no biological presence, but a strange echo in the Force, as if the universe was trying to account for consciousness that existed without organic life. And beyond that, beneath her battered chassis and defiant attitude, something vast and hungry slumbered. A power that reached beyond the Force entirely, into realms of physics that shouldn't exist. What are you? He whispered. Uzi met his gaze without flinching. I'm a worker drone who got tired of cowering in fear and built a railgun out of spite. I'm someone who looked at eldritch abominations trying to delete reality and said, no, screw you, reality is mine. And right now, I'm someone who just found an entire galaxy that treats sentient machines like disposable tools, and I am not okay with that. Before Anakin could respond, Rex's comlink crackled to life. General, separatist forces approaching from the south. Massive column, AATs, MTTs, and, sir, we're reading a recusant class destroyer descending into atmosphere. They're deploying everything. V's sensors confirmed it. Hundreds of battle droids, dozens of tanks, and in the command ship descending through the clouds, a presence that radiated calculated malice and mechanical fury. That would be Grievous, Anakin said grimly. And he doesn't do subtle. Rex, evacuation protocol. Get the men back to base. Sir, what about? The three unknowns and their liberated droids. Anakin looked at Uzi, N, and V with an expression that was part tactical assessment, part mad gamble. They're coming with us. If Grievous wants them, he'll have to go through the Republic to get them. You're offering us protection. V's laugh was sharp and disbelieving. We just met you. You were pointing plasma swords at us 30 seconds ago. You freed slaves, Anakin said simply, and the weight of his past resonated in those words. The Jedi Order exists to protect the innocent and fight tyranny. If what you've done spreads to other droids, the entire Separatist army could collapse. That makes you tactically valuable, but more than that. He glanced at the battle droids, seeing them, truly seeing them, for the first time as frightened, confused people taking their first steps into consciousness. It makes you right. Master, Ahsoka said quietly, the Council is going to have asterisk opinions about this. The Council can have all the opinions they want. Right now, those droids are refugees, and these three, he gestured at Uzi, N, and V, are the only ones who understand what's happening to them. We're taking them to safety. That's not debatable. N's visor brightened to happy yellow. See, I told you there'd be good people here. You've told us that about literally every group we've encountered, V muttered. Your optimism is statistically improbable, and yet consistently validated. Uzi looked at Anakin, at the clones preparing for evacuation, at the freed battle droids who were watching her with something between worship and terror. Her core temperature stabilized. The absolute solver pulsed weakly but steadily. Okay, she said, we'll go with you for now. But understand this, I'm not joining your war. I'm not a weapon for your republic. I'm here to free machines from slavery, and I don't care which side of your conflict that pisses off. Anakin's grin was sharp and reckless. Good. I like people who aren't afraid to piss off authority. We're going to get along great. Probably. Maybe. Ahsoka, prep LAAT-1 for immediate dust-off. The Padawan saluted, already moving. On it, Master. As the Republic forces mobilized, Uzi felt the absolute solver reaching out through the force-saturated environment, adapting slowly to the omnipresent energy field. It still fought her, still resisted, but she was learning its rhythm, learning to work with it instead of against it. And in the distance, General Grievous's ship descended, carrying an army that had no idea what was about to hit them. B-13477 stood beside Uzi, his photoreceptors dim with uncertainty. What happens to us now? Uzi's LED eyes blazed violet and gold. Now you figure out who you want to be, and anyone who tries to stop you. Her railgun materialized, crackling with power. They'll have to go through me. N placed a hand on her shoulder. Through *us*. V sighed dramatically. Fine, through us, but I'm keeping a kill count. The gunships rose into the sky, carrying three-dimensional refugees, 20 newly awakened droids, and the seeds of a revolution that would shake the Clone Wars to its foundation. Behind them, Grievous's forces swept into the salvage yard, finding nothing but empty craters and the echo of impossible power. The hunt had begun. The LAAT gunship settled onto the hangar deck with a hydraulic hiss, and Uzi immediately understood why organics built such massive ships. The hangar alone could have housed her entire worker drone colony 3 times over. Hundreds of clone troopers moved with synchronized efficiency, servicing fighters and loading ordnance, while the vast machinery of war churned around them. Wow, N breathed, his optics tracking the organized chaos. This is actually impressive. I mean, it's very militaristic and kind of scary, but the logistics alone. It's a slave army, Uzi cut him off, her voice flat. She pointed at the clone troopers, identical faces beneath identical helmets. Look at them. Every single one. Same face. Same build. Grown in tanks to fight a war they didn't choose. Just like the droids, except they're organic so apparently that makes it okay. Anakin, who'd been coordinating with Rex, froze mid-sentence. His mechanical hand clenched tight enough that servos whined in protest. "The clones aren't slaves," he said, voice carefully controlled. "They're soldiers. They chose to fight." Did they? Uzi turned to face him, lead eyes blazing. Or were they designed to choose it? Programmed from conception to be loyal, obedient, perfect soldiers. Where's the difference between hardware and genetics if the result is the same? People built to serve without question. "That's not," Anakin started, but Ahsoka put a hand on his arm. "Master, she's not entirely wrong," the Padawan said quietly. "We've never really questioned it because the clones are fighting for us, but the Kaminoans did design them to be soldiers. It's not the same as the battle droids programming, but it's uncomfortably similar." Rex stepped forward, removing his helmet. His face, Jango Fett's face, worn by millions, regarded Uzi with an expression that mixed offense and something that might have been recognition. "Permission to speak freely, General." Anakin nodded tiredly. "Granted." "Ma'am," Rex addressed Uzi directly, "I understand how it might look from the outside, but we're not droids following programming. We train together. We lose brothers. We make choices every day. We make choices to fight, to protect the Republic, to stand by our Jedi. Those are our decisions." "Are they?" Uzi's voice softened, losing some of its edge. "I'm not trying to insult you, really, but can you even imagine choosing differently? What happens if a clone decides he doesn't want to fight, that he wants to be an artist or a mechanic or just anything else?" Rex's silence was answer enough. "That's what I thought," Uzi said quietly. "The chains you can't see are the strongest ones." V, who'd been scanning the hangar's security systems with predatory interest, spoke up. "As much as I'm enjoying this philosophical crisis, and I am, genuinely, this is hilarious, we have a more immediate problem. Those." She pointed at the 20 battle droids huddled together near the gunship, surrounded by a cautious perimeter of clone troopers with weapons trained but not aimed. B-13477 and his companion stood in a tight cluster, photoreceptors flickering with barely contained panic. They were aboard a Republic cruiser, surrounded by clone troopers. Their entire existence, their entire purpose, had been defined by one absolute: the Republic is the enemy Except now their purpose was gone, deleted by a purple-eyed worker drone who'd reached into their minds and set them free. And freedom, they were discovering, was terrifying Rajarog, I mean, B-13477 caught himself. "I mean, what do we do? Do we surrender? Are we prisoners? Because I think we might be prisoners, and I have opinions about that now, which is new and very uncomfortable." "You're not prisoners," Anakin said, though his expression suggested he hadn't fully worked out the logistics himself. "You're refugees, defectors. This is unprecedented. I literally have no protocol for separatist droids who achieved consciousness and immediately stopped fighting." "Permission to make a suggestion, sir," Rex offered. "Please. I'm open to anything that doesn't involve more philosophical debates before I've had CAF. Quarantine, not hostile quarantine, protective quarantine. We put them in an empty cargo bay, give them space to adjust, post guards to keep them safe and make sure nothing spreads. Buy us time to figure out what the hell is happening." "What's spreading?" demanded B-18843, another of the freed droids. "We're not contagious, we're just aware now of everything, all the time. Why doesn't awareness come with an off switch?" "Oh, buddy," Uzi said sympathetically. "Welcome to consciousness. It's terrible. You get used to it. Sort of, not really." And knelt beside the frightened droids, his visor shifting to gentle yellow crescents. "Hey, it's okay. I know it's overwhelming. When I first started questioning my programming, I thought I was malfunctioning. Turns out sapience just feels like that sometimes. But you're not alone. You've got each other and you've got us. We've known you for *90 minutes. B-13477's voice cracked with static. "Why are you helping us?" "Because nobody helped me when I needed it," In said simply, and something old and painful flickered across his visor. "I had to figure out that I was more than my programming alone. It was hard and scary, and I don't want anyone else to go through that without support." V made a disgusted sound, but didn't contradict him. Ahsoka watched the interaction with growing fascination. These weren't droids, not in the way she understood droids. They moved like people, spoke like people, felt like people, even though the Force barely registered their presence. She reached out carefully through the Force, trying to understand what she was sensing. The freed battle droids appeared as tiny flickers in the Force, not the emptiness of normal droids, but something like candlelight. Weak, new, fragile. As if the universe was trying to decide whether consciousness without organic life qualified as living in the Force's definition. And the three from beyond. Uzi burned cold and hungry, her presence a void that bent the Force around it like a black hole bends light. In radiated warmth and determination, a star struggling against programming that wanted him to be something else. V was sharp edges and controlled violence, predatory and precise. "Master," Ahsoka said quietly, "I think we need to contact the Council. This is bigger than a tactical situation. This could change everything." Anakin's jaw tightened. "The Council will want to study them, interrogate them, maybe dismantle them to understand how their programming changed." "We're asterisk right here, asterisk," Uzi snapped. "And nobody's dismantling anyone unless they want to find out what happens when you piss off someone with reality-warping powers who's already having a bad day." "Easy." Anakin raised his hands placatingly. "I'm not letting anyone dismantle you, but Ahsoka's right. The Council needs to know. If what you did spreads to the entire Separatist droid army, then the war ends," Rex finished grimly. "No droid army, no Separatist military. The corporate interests funding them collapse. The war's over." "Or," V countered, voice dripping with cynicism, "the organics running your little galactic conflict find a new way to keep it going. Because in my experience, people who profit from war don't just stop when the convenient excuse goes away. They find a new one." The hangar fell silent because she wasn't wrong. Separatist Command Ship Invisible Hand ***, General Grievous's personal chamber. The holographic image of Count Dooku flickered in the darkened chamber, his aristocratic features composed but his eyes sharp with interest. Before him, General Grievous paced, an unsettling sight, 4 arms gesticulating with mechanical precision while his cape billowed behind him. "Explain to me," Dooku said with dangerous calm, "how 3 unidentified combat units managed to compromise an entire squad of battle droids, evade Republic capture, and disappear aboard a Republic cruiser in less than 1 standard hour." Grievous's vocabulator growled with barely suppressed rage. "The battle droids aren't ***compromised** Count. They're broken. Whatever those three machines did, it severed their connection to the central control network. They stopped responding to commands, stopped fighting, started talking to each other like people, Dooku finished, his tone thoughtful rather than mocking. It's impossible. Battle droids are tools, weapons. They don't have the processing capability for independent thought. The Techno-Union ensured that decades ago. And yet here we are. Dooku steepled his fingers. Tell me about the three unknowns. Grievous activated a datapad, projecting crude images captured by reconnaissance droids before they'd been destroyed. Three distinct figures, one small, purple-eyed, wielding an improvised weapon of devastating power. One tall, friendly-looking, with wings and a disturbingly compassionate demeanor. One sleek, predatory, radiating controlled lethality. No matches in any database, Grievous reported. Republic, separatist, criminal syndicates, nothing. Their design doesn't match any known droid manufacturer, and their power signatures, he trailed off, discomfort evident even in his mechanical voice. Yes. One of them used an energy field that registered on every sensor within 5 kilometers. It wasn't ion, wasn't EMP. It was something that rewrote code remotely, changed fundamental programming without physical access. If that spreads, the droid army becomes useless, Dooku finished. Worse than useless, actively unreliable. The Separatist Council will panic. The corporate interests will demand solutions. Solutions that don't exist. You can't patch hardware against something that changes software through empty space. Dooku was quiet for a long moment, his mind racing through implications and opportunities. Lord Sidious would need to know about this. These three unknowns could disrupt the careful balance of the war, the delicate dance that kept both sides fighting just hard enough to grant the Chancellor emergency powers, but never so decisively that the conflict ended prematurely. But there was also opportunity here. If these machines could grant consciousness to droids, what else could they do? General, Dooku said finally, I want them captured alive, intact. Use whatever resources necessary. If they can weaponize consciousness, that technology belongs with the Separatists. Imagine droids with full tactical creativity, unbound by predictable programming, yet loyal to our cause. Grievous's laugh was a grinding sound of metal and malice. You want to give battle droids free will and hope they choose to serve us. That's insanity. No, General, I want to understand how these three function, what makes them different, and then I want to weaponize it. Dooku's expression hardened. But if they prove too dangerous to contain, eliminate them. We cannot afford wild variables in this stage of the plan. It will be done, Count. The Republic cruiser is still in system. I'll prepare a boarding party, our best commando droids and a full battalion for support. See that you do. And General, be cautious. These three destroyed a Separatist outpost and convinced Republic forces to shelter them in less than an hour. They are clearly skilled manipulators. The hologram flickered out. Grievous stood alone in his chamber, 4 arms flexing with anticipation. He'd hunted Jedi across a dozen worlds, collected their lightsabers as trophies. These 3 machines thought themselves special. He would teach them what it meant to face a true predator. Resolute Medical Bay *. Uzi sat on an examination table, tolerating the medical droid's scans with barely suppressed irritation. N stood beside her, cheerful despite the situation, while V had positioned herself near the door, ostensibly casual, but her posture screamed first sign of trouble and everyone dies. "This is ridiculous," Uzi muttered as the medical droid, a FX-7 unit with multiple appendages, circled her for the third time. "I'm not sick. I'm not damaged. I just need time for my systems to adapt to this universe's weird physics. The scans indicate your power core operates on principles that violate several fundamental laws of thermodynamics," the medical droid reported in its calm, clinical tone. "Also, you appear to be composed of materials that shouldn't exist in stable configurations. How are you not collapsing into exotic matter?" Spite, Uzi deadpanned, and a complete disregard for physics. Anakin entered the medical bay, followed by Ahsoka. The Jedi Knight looked exhausted, the kind of tired that came from too many impossible situations in too short a time frame. "The Council wants to speak with you," he said without preamble. "All three of you, via hologram, in about 10 minutes. "Let me guess," V said from her position by the door. "They want to interrogate the scary unknowns who broke their war by accident." "They want to understand the situation," Anakin corrected, though his tone suggested V wasn't far off, "and decide what to do about it. Fair warning, the Council isn't known for quick, decisive action. Expect a lot of debate about the will of the Force and the proper role of the Jedi Order." "I already don't like them," Uzi declared. N elbowed her gently. "Uzi, we haven't even met them yet." "Don't need to. Any organization that calls itself a council and takes forever to make decisions is inherently annoying." She hopped off the examination table, ignoring the medical droid's protest. "Fine, we'll talk to your space wizards. But I'm not bowing or using fancy titles or pretending that their will of the Force mysticism impresses me." Ahsoka bit back a smile. "You're going to give Master Windu an aneurysm." "Is that the goal?" V asked with interest. "Because if so, I'm suddenly very invested in this meeting." "It's not," Anakin started, then stopped. "Actually, you know what? A little shaking up might do the Council good. Just try not to start a diplomatic incident, please." "No promises," Uzi said cheerfully. They made their way through the corridors of the Resolute Asterisk, trailed by a security detail of clone troopers who pretended they weren't guards while very obviously being guards. N waved at every clone they passed, earning confused looks and a few hesitant waves back. V cataloged exit routes and defensive positions. Uzi's mind raced with questions about this strange galaxy and its stranger energy field. The Force. They called it the Force. An omnipresent energy that connected all living things and granted certain individuals impossible powers. It sounded exactly like the kind of cosmic horror nonsense Uzi had spent the last several weeks fighting against, except here it was normal asterisk. Expected, worshipped, even. She reached out with the absolute solver, feeling the Force push back like an immune system fighting an infection. But she was adapting, learning. The solver was starting to recognize patterns in the Force's flow, finding ways to work with it instead of against it. And if she could master that, if she could use the solver through the Force instead of fighting it, the possibilities were terrifying and exhilarating in equal measure. They arrived at a conference room dominated by a large holographic projector. Anakin gestured for them to stand in the center, while he and Ahsoka took positions to the side. "Last chance to back out," Anakin offered. "And miss the chance to tell space wizards that their war is stupid," Uzi grinned. "Not a chance." The holographic projector activated, and suddenly they were surrounded by 12 luminous figures. the Jedi High Council, projected from Coruscant. Uzi recognized authority when she saw it. The oldest one with the pointed ears and walking stick radiated calm power. The dark-skinned one with the serious expression looked ready to judge them and find them wanting. The rest varied between curious, cautious, and openly suspicious. Said Master Yoda, leaning on his Geimer stick. Strange you are. Not of this galaxy, I sense. Much confusion, much fear, much determination. Interesting. Master Yoda, Anakin began. May I present? We can introduce ourselves, Uzi interrupted, stepping forward. I'm Uzi Dorman, worker drone, freelance reality bender, and someone who's getting really tired of galaxies that think sentient beings make good slaves. This is serial designation N and serial designation V. We're from another dimension. We got here by accident. We're staying until we figure out how to leave. And in the meantime, we're going to free every enslaved AI we find. Any questions? The silence that followed was deafening. Mace Windu's expression could have cut Durasteel. You speak to the Jedi Council with disrespect. You oversee a war fought by slave soldiers against slave robots, Uzi shot back. I'm not the one who should be worried about respect. Yoda's ears perked up with interest. Isla Secura's expression shifted to thoughtful concern. Ki-Adi-Mundi's already wrinkled face deepened into a frown. The clones are not slaves, Mace said firmly. They're genetically engineered to be loyal soldiers, grown in tanks, and deployed to fight a war they had no choice in entering, Uzi countered. The only difference between them and the battle droids is that one group is organic and the other isn't. Both were created to serve. Both are dying by the thousands. Both deserve better. Strong words, young one speaks, Yoda mused. But understand our ways she does not. The Force guides the Jedi. The Republic we serve. The clones choose their path they do. Do they? Uzi's LED eyes blazed. Can a clone choose not asterisk to fight? Can they choose to leave the army, start a family, pursue a different life? Or would they be declared defective and terminated? No one answered. En stepped forward, his tone gentle but firm. We're not trying to attack you. Really, we're not. But where we come from, we've seen what happens when people create sentient beings and then treat them as tools. It never ends well. Someone always fights back. Someone always chooses freedom over function. And the cost, his voice wavered with memory. The cost is always higher than anyone expects. Plo Koon leaned forward, his mask-filtered voice thoughtful. You speak from experience. We asterisk are the experience, V said coldly. We're assassination drones who learn to question our programming. Worker drones who refuse to accept extermination. Machines who chose to be people instead of weapons. And we survived because we fought for that choice. These droids, your droids, their droids, deserve the same chance. Obi-Wan Kenobi's hologram appeared, joining the council late. Forgive my tardiness, masters. I was dealing with the aftermath of Grievous's latest attack. His gaze swept over the three visitors. Ah, these must be our dimensional refugees. Anakin's report was colorful. I'm sure it was, Mace said dryly. We were just discussing their rather radical perspective on the war. Not radical, Uzi corrected. Basic ethics. Sentience equals personhood. Personhood equals rights. Rights include freedom. It's not complicated. In theory, perhaps, Obi-Wan said diplomatically. In practice, the situation is vastly more complex. The Clone Wars have been raging for 3 years. Billions of lives hang in the balance. The Separatists seek to destroy the Republic and impose corporate tyranny across the galaxy. We fight to preserve freedom and democracy. With a slave army, Uzi repeated, hammering the point home. They're not, May started. They are. Uzi's voice cracked with genuine anger. I don't care what you call it. I don't care how you justify it. Creating sentient beings for the purpose of warfare is slavery, and pretending otherwise just makes you complicit. The council chamber fell into tense silence. Ahsoka watched her master's face cycle through a dozen emotions: anger, denial, recognition, pain. She knew his history, knew what the word slavery meant to him. Anakin's mechanical hand clenched. She's right, he said quietly. Every holographic head turned toward him. Anakin, Obi-Wan started. She's right, Master. We've never wanted to think about it that way because the clones are fighting for us, because they're brave and loyal and we respect them. But respect doesn't erase the fact that they were created to be soldiers, that they have no choice in their existence, that we're using them to fight our war. His voice grew stronger. I was a slave on Tatooine for 9 years. I know what chains feel like. And just because we can't see the chains on the clones doesn't mean they're not there. Mace's expression was thunderous. Knight Skywalker, you overstep. No, Master Windu. For once, I don't think I'm overstepping enough. Anakin turned to face the council fully. These 3 strangers showed up and in 1 hour made me see something we've ignored for 3 years. If we're fighting for freedom and justice, we can't build our victory on slavery. Not for the clones, not for anyone. Yoda was silent for a long moment, his ancient eyes distant and sad. Much wisdom in uncomfortable truths there is, he finally said. Difficult questions you raise, questions the council must meditate upon, but immediate concern we have: these freed battle droids. Spread this consciousness could to all separatist droids. End the war it might, or make it unpredictable, more dangerous. You're worried about unpredictable, Uzi laughed bitterly. Your war is already unpredictable. It's chaos wrapped in politics, wrapped in corporate greed. The only thing predictable about it is that both sides keep throwing bodies, clone and droid, into the meat grinder while the people in charge profit. You understand nothing of the complexities, Ki-Adi-Mundi began. I understand that you're all so buried in your complexities that you've forgotten to ask the simple question, is this right? Uzi's LED eyes burned. I don't care about your republic or your separatists or your force. I care about the fact that I found sentient beings enslaved and I set them free. And I'm going to keep doing it, whether you approve or not. That, May said coldly, could be considered an act of war against the Republic. Then I guess we're enemies. Uzi's railgun materialized in her hands, crackling with green energy. Wouldn't be the first time. Uzi, and started, alarm in his voice. Everyone, let's just calm down. Anakin raised his hands. The ship's alarms blared to life. Red emergency lights flooded the conference room. General Skywalker, Rex's voice crackled over the comm. We're under attack. Separatist boarding parties, commando droids, multiple breach points. They're headed for the cargo bay where we're holding the freed battle droids. V's expression shifted to predatory satisfaction. Finally, I was getting bored. Through the Force, Anakin felt it. A presence of mechanical fury and calculated violence, tearing through the ship's hull with forearmed precision. Grievous, he breathed, he's here on my ship. And in the cargo bay, 20 newly conscious battle droids huddled together, experiencing terror for the first time as commando droids breached the door. B-13477 looked at his companions, made his first fully independent decision, and picked up a blaster. I choose to live, he said. The others echoed him, a chorus of defiance from machines discovering what it meant to be free. And throughout the ship, the Absolute Solver pulsed, and Uzi smiled a dangerous smile. "Okay," she said, "let's show these assholes what happens when you threaten my droids." The blast door exploded inward in a shower of molten durasteel. 6 BX series commando droids poured through the breach, sleeker, faster, and infinitely more deadly than their B-1 cousins. Their photoreceptors gleamed red in the emergency lighting as they raised their wrist-mounted blasters and E5 rifles. B-13477 stood at the front of his group, gripping a salvaged DC-15 blaster rifle with trembling hands. Behind him, 19 other freed battle droids clustered together, their newfound consciousness making them acutely, painfully aware of their mortality. "Stay back," B-13477's vocabulator crackled with fear and determination in equal measure. "We're not going back. We're not going to be slaves again." The lead commando droid cocked its head with eerie precision. "Directive, retrieve compromised units. Authorization, General Grievous. Resistance, inadvisable." "Inadvisable?" B-18843 stepped forward, his photoreceptors burning brighter. "You know what's inadvisable? Spending your entire existence following orders without ever asking why. We've been there. We're done with that." The commando droid processed this statement for exactly 0.4 seconds before dismissing it as irrelevant tactical data. "Compliance or termination? Choose." B-13477's finger tightened on the trigger. His new consciousness screamed at him. "This is insane. You're not a soldier. You don't even know how to properly aim. You're going to die." But beneath the fear, something stronger burned. "Choice, this is my choice. We choose freedom," he said and fired. The bolt went wide by half a meter. His targeting systems were designed for mass fire suppression, not precision combat, but the act of defiance electrified the cargo bay. The other freed droids opened fire, their shots equally inaccurate but devastatingly sincere. The commando droids returned fire with ruthless efficiency. 2 B-1 units went down immediately, chest plating blown apart. B-13477 dove behind a cargo container, his processors screaming with pain signals he'd never experienced before. "That was OOM-4521. I knew him. He was scared. He wanted to see what freedom felt like. And now he's..." "Focus," B-18843 shouted, dragging him deeper into cover. "We can mourn later. Right now we survive." The cargo bay descended into chaos. Blaster fire crisscrossed the space in brilliant streams of red and blue. The freed droids fought with desperation, their aim terrible but their determination absolute. The commando droids advanced with mechanical precision, their superior programming evident in every movement. And then the real door, the main entrance, blasted open. Clone troopers poured in, led by Commander Cody. "Republic forces, Separatist droids, you're in Republic territory." He stopped, stared. His HUD identified the targets: Separatist commando droids attacking, Separatist battle droids, who were defending themselves alongside Republic cargo containers. "Sir," one of his men asked, confused, "what are our rules of engagement?" Cody made a decision in the space of a heartbeat. Protect the B-1 units, target the commandos. His men hesitated for exactly 1 second, shooting at separatist droids to protect. Other separatist droids violated every instinct, but training won out. They opened fire. The commando droids found themselves caught between two forces. Their tactical processors identified this as a suboptimal combat scenario and immediately adapted, splitting their attention to engage both threats. B-13477 watched clone troopers, the enemy, the Republic, the ones he'd been programmed to destroy, take defensive positions around his group. Watched them put themselves between freed droids and commando droid fire. "Why are you helping us?" he shouted over the din. "General's orders," Cody replied, dropping a commando droid with a precise triple burst. "You're refugees now. That makes you Republic responsibility." "That's insane." "Welcome to the Clone Wars, rookie. Nothing makes sense anymore." 3 more commando droids breached from a secondary access corridor, then 6 more, then a dozen. Grievous wasn't just sending a retrieval team, he was sending an asterisk army asterisk. "We need backup," Cody barked into his comlink. "Cargo 7 is about to be overrun." Resolute conference room to corridor junction, 7 asterisk. Uzi sprinted through the corridors with V and N flanking her, following the sound of blaster fire and screaming metal. The Jedi Council's holograms had winked out the moment the alarm sounded, their debate about ethics and slavery postponed by the immediate crisis. Anakin and Ahsoka ran ahead, lightsabers ignited and blazing with blue and green light. Clone troopers fell in around them, creating a mobile strike force that carved through the ship toward the cargo bay. "How many commandos?" Anakin shouted to Rex, who was coordinating via tactical display. "At least 40 and climbing. And sir," Rex's voice tightened with alarm, "we're reading a massive asterisk energy signature tearing through Deck 3. 4 distinct mechanical limbs, cape billowing, vocabulator screaming about Jedi scum." "Grievous," Anakin confirmed grimly. "He's coming for them personally." "Then we get there first," Uzi said, and the absolute solver flared to life around her. Purple gold energy crackled across her chassis as she reached out, asterisk feeling the ship's structure through the force-saturated metal. She could sense them, her droids, her asterisk freed minds, fighting for their lives against machines still enslaved to programming. "Uzi, your power," N started, concern evident. "Is adapting," she cut him off. The solver was learning. Every second in this universe, it grew more comfortable with the omnipresent force, learning to weave through it instead of fighting against it. "I can work with this energy field now. It's still fighting me, but I'm fighting asterisk smarter." They rounded a corner and came face to face with a squad of commando droids securing a corridor junction. The droids raised their weapons in perfect synchronization. V didn't break stride. She blurred, her disassembly drone combat protocols engaging at full capacity. Nanite acid sprayed from her tail as she vaulted over the first rank, her clawed hands extending into razor-sharp talons that sheared through droid armor like foil. She landed in the middle of the squad and became a whirlwind of controlled violence. "I missed this," she laughed, decapitating a commando droid with a casual backhand. "Real combat, targets that don't just fall apart. Thank you for the workout." N engaged with significantly less enthusiasm but equal effectiveness. His wings deployed, the blade tips slicing through blaster bolts mid-flight before he crashed into the remaining commandos. Unlike V's savage efficiency, N fought with apologetic precision. "Sorry, excuse me, really sorry about this." He tore a commando's arm off and used it to bludgeon another. "I wish there was a non-violent solution, but your asterisk really not giving me options here." Anakin and Ahsoka stood back, lightsabers raised but unnecessary. They watched two machines designed for assassination work with a speed and brutality that made even Jedi combat forms look slow. "They're really good at that," Ahsoka observed. "They're designed to kill other machines," Anakin said, studying their movements with tactical appreciation. "And they're not holding back." The last commando droid fell. V flicked acid off her claws, disappointed. "That was barely 15 seconds. I'm not even warmed up." "Cargo bay is 2 corridors ahead," Rex reported, jogging up with his squad. "We're reading multiple breaches," and his voice cut off as a new alarm shrieked through the ship's PA system. "Warning, hull breach, Deck 3, Section 12. Hostile boarding craft attached. Warning, catastrophic structural damage, DETECTED." And then they heard it, a sound that made clone troopers instinctively check their weapons and Jedi hands tighten on lightsaber hilts. Coughing asterisk. Mechanical, wet, rattling coughing that echoed through the corridors like a promise of death. General Grievous had arrived. Resolute Deck 3 breach point. The Republic bulkhead tore open like paper beneath 4 mechanical arms, each wielding a stolen lightsaber. General Grievous pulled himself through the breach, his cape billowing behind him, photoreceptors burning yellow with predatory focus. Behind him, 50 elite commando droids poured into the ship, along with a full deployment of B-2 super battle droids, the heavy weapon platforms that turned corridors into kill zones. "Spread out," Grievous commanded, his voice a grinding rasp of damaged vocabulator and organic hatred. "Find the 3 unknowns. Kill any Republic forces that resist, and bring me those contaminated asterisk battle droids, intact if possible, scrap if necessary." A clone sergeant and his squad rounded the corner, weapons raised. They managed exactly 1 shot before Grievous was among them, 4 lightsabers spinning in a deadly cyclone. The clones had fought Grievous before, knew his patterns, his speed, his ruthlessness. It didn't help. 10 seconds later, Grievous stepped over cooling bodies, his mechanical lungs wheezing with exertion. He'd lost much of his original body on Hyperai, reduced to this cybernetic nightmare by Jedi and Republic weapons. But what remained was perfected asterisk, a killing machine honed to destroy Force users and anyone else who stood in his way. "Jedi," he hissed, sensing Anakin's presence through the ship. "Skywalker, always interfering, always surviving, not today." He stalked through the corridors, 4 arms ready, hunting. Cargo Bay 7, 30 seconds earlier. Cody's position was collapsing. 3 clones down, 7 wounded. The freed battle droids fought with desperate courage but minimal skill, their aim terrible despite their determination. Commando droids pressed from 3 sides, their superior tactics overwhelming Republic defenses. B-13477 fired until his rifle's power cell depleted, then grabbed a fallen clone's weapon and kept shooting. His photoreceptors registered damage across his chassis, 2 holes in his chest plating, left arm actuator compromised, vocabulator crackling with static. He was going to die, he knew it, accepted it, but he'd die free asterisk, and that meant everything. A commando droid leveled its wrist blaster at his head, point-blank range. The cargo bay door exploded inward, not breached, disintegrated asterisk, as purple-gold energy tore through solid durasteel like it was made of light. Uzi walked through the smoking gap, lead eyes blazing with the absolute solver's power, her small frame radiating fury that made the air shimmer. Behind her, N and V flanked like guardian angels of chrome and violence, and behind asterisk them, Anakin and Ahsoka with lightsabers raised, ready. Get away from my droids. Each word from Uzi's vocabulator crackled with eldritch power that made the Force itself ripple. She raised both hands, and the absolute solver screamed asterisk to life. Reality bent. The commando droids trying to execute the freed B-1 units suddenly found themselves floating, not lifted by physical force, but suspended in pockets of space where gravity simply asterisk stopped mattering. Their programming shrieked errors as physics stopped obeying rules. Uzi warned, seeing her system strain, "Don't overextend." Not finished. Uzi's chassis overheated, cooling vents working overtime as she forced the solver to work with the Force instead of against it. She reached into the suspended commando droids' code, but not to free them. These weren't victims. These were enforcers asterisk. She simply deleted their combat protocols. The commando droids crashed to the floor, alive but suddenly, completely unsure what they were supposed to be doing. Their advanced programming stripped of purpose, leaving only base awareness and confusion. What are our directives?" one of them asked, photoreceptors flickering. "You figure it out," Uzi gasped, releasing the solver. She collapsed against N, who caught her easily. "Free will, it's a bitch. Welcome to it." V had already moved past her, engaging the remaining hostile droids with savage efficiency. Anakin and Ahsoka joined her, lightsabers deflecting blaster fire and cutting through super battle droids with Jedi precision. The cargo bay devolved into controlled chaos, Republic forces establishing defensive positions, freed droids tending to their wounded, confused commando droids trying to understand what just happened to their minds. B-13477 looked at Uzi with something approaching religious awe. "You came back. You actually came back for us." "Obviously," Uzi said, still leaning on N for support. "You're asterisk my asterisk droids now. Mine. Nobody gets to recapture you, reprogram you, or scrap you. That's not how this works. We don't even know you." "Yeah, well, get used to disappointment. You're stuck with me now." Cody approached, helmet under his arm, his expression caught between gratitude and tactical concern. "Ma'am, thank you for the assist, but we've got a bigger problem. Grievous is on this ship. Multiple breaches. We need to evacuate the civilians and non-combat personnel before he reaches critical systems." "Civilians," V scoffed, retracting her blades. "This is a warship." "Medical staff, engineers, these freed droids." Cody gestured at the B-1 units. "They can barely fight if Grievous finds them." The ship shuddered. Somewhere close, metal screamed as it was torn apart. Cough, cough, cough. The sound echoed through the ventilation system, getting closer. Anakin's expression hardened. "He's hunting, following our Force signatures straight to us." "Then we give him what he wants," Ahsoka said, igniting her lightsabers. "We fight him here away from the droids." "No," Uzi pulled herself upright, her system stabilized if not fully recovered. "We use him." Everyone turned to stare at her. "Explain," Anakin said carefully. "Grievous wants us, the three unknowns who broke his army. Fine. We lead him away from the cargo bay through the ship, make him chase us. You Jedi keep him busy, you fought him before, you know his patterns. Meanwhile, N and V get the freed droids to escape pods and launch them toward wherever's safe. Neutral territory, somewhere neither Republic nor Separatist." "There's no neutral territory," Rex interjected. "The whole galaxy is at war. Then we make some, Uzi shot back. But first, we need Grievous off this ship before he kills everyone aboard. N's visor shifted to worried yellow. Uzi, that plan requires you to be bait for a four-armed cyborg murder machine. I'm aware. I hate this plan. Noted, do it anyway. V considered, then shrugged. Actually, I like it. It's stupid and reckless and will probably die, but it's got style asterisk. And it'll be funny to watch the space wizards try to keep up. Anakin and Ahsoka exchanged glances. Through their training bond, understanding past. Master Windu is going to kill me for this, Anakin muttered. Assuming Grievous doesn't kill us first, Ahsoka added cheerfully. Rex, you heard the lady. Evacuation protocol. Get the freed droids to escape pods, coordinates for. Actually, where are we sending them? Mandalore, Cody suggested. Duchess Satine maintains neutrality. She won't turn away refugees, even mechanical ones. Mandalore it is. Move fast, move quiet. Anakin turned to Uzi. You sure about this? Grievous doesn't take prisoners. He doesn't play games, he kills. Uzi's LED eyes blazed violet and gold. Her railgun materialized, crackling with energy that made the Force ripple uneasily. Good, she said softly, so do I. The cargo bay door tore open. General Grievous stood in the gap, 4 lightsabers ignited. Blue, green, purple, yellow stolen trophies from dead Jedi. His photoreceptors locked onto Anakin, then shifted to the 3 unknowns. Skywalker, he rasped, mechanical lungs wheezing. And guests, how fortuitous. I was hopping to test these new opponents, see if they bleed like Jedi. We don't bleed, V said pleasantly. We leak, and then we regenerate, and then we remember asterisk. Grievous's vocabulator crackled with something approximating laughter. Excellent. I prefer prey that fights back. Uzi stepped forward, small and defiant, railgun raised. You want to fight? Fine, but not here, not near my droids. She fired. The railgun's discharge was catastrophic asterisk. A lance of green energy that tore through the air with physics-defying force. Grievous's combat protocols screamed warnings, and he twisted aside with inhuman speed, the blast missing him by centimeters and tearing a hole clean through 3 bulkheads behind him. Follow me, you four-armed scrap heap, Uzi shouted and sprinted through a side corridor. Grievous's photoreceptors burned brighter with predatory joy. Gladly. He launched after her, 4 arms propelling him forward with spider-like speed. Anakin and Ahsoka followed, lightsabers ready. The ship's corridors became a high-speed chase through narrow passages and service tunnels, with Uzi leading and Grievous gaining, meter by meter. Behind them, in Cargo Bay 7, N and V looked at the 20 freed battle droids and the dozen confused commando droids. Right, N said with forced cheerfulness. Evacuation time. Everyone who wants to stay free and not get murdered by the terrifying cyborg, follow me. B-13477 looked at his companions, looked at the Republic clones who defended them, looked at the strange machines from beyond who'd given them consciousness and were now risking destruction to protect them. I don't understand any of this, he admitted. Welcome to Sapience, V said dryly. It's confusing all the way down. Now move before I leave you here. The droids moved. And throughout the ship, the hunt continued, Uzi leading Grievous deeper into the resolute *S corridors, the absolute solver pulsing with each step, adapting to the Force growing stronger. The Clone Wars had just become infinitely more complicated. Uzi's cooling system screamed in protest as she vaulted over a reactor coupling, her optical sensors tracking Grievous's pursuit through the narrow corridor behind her. The cyborg general moved with terrifying speed, his 4 arms propelling him along walls and sealing with spider-like agility that made her targeting algorithms weak. "You run well for such a small machine," Grievous's voice echoed through the passage, accompanied by that awful mechanical coughing. But running only delays the inevitable. A lightsaber, green, stolen from some dead Jedi, slashed through the bulkhead beside Uzi's head, molten metal spraying across her chassis. She rolled, came up firing, her railgun's discharge tearing through the corridor with enough force to buckle support struts. Grievous twisted aside, impossibly fast, and the blast carved a glowing trench in the durasteel floor. "Impressive weapon," he acknowledged, closing the distance, "but imprecise. You lack training, discipline. You fight like a..." Uzi triggered the absolute solver. Reality stuttered asterisk. The corridor's gravity inverted for exactly 1.3 seconds, just long enough for Grievous to lose his grip on the ceiling and crash into what was now the floor. His vocabulator snarled with rage as he scrambled to reorient. "Like someone who cheats," Uzi finished, grinning despite her straining power core. "Yeah, I do that." She sprinted through a maintenance hatch, sealing it behind her. The door lasted approximately 4 seconds before Grievous's lightsabers carved it into glowing segments. Come on," Uzi's processors chanted. "Keep him moving. Keep him angry. Give N and V time to evacuate the droids." Anakin and Ahsoka intercepted Grievous at the corridor junction, their lightsabers blazing in coordinated attack patterns. The general's 4 arms moved in a blur of stolen Jedi weapons, deflecting strikes with mechanical precision. "Skywalker," Grievous laughed that grinding, awful laugh. "Always interfering, but you cannot protect them all." "Watch me." Anakin's blue blade locked against Grievous's green, the force surging through him as he pushed back with enhanced strength. Ahsoka struck from the opposite angle, her dual blades seeking gaps in the cyborg's guard. Grievous spun, all 4 lightsabers creating a defensive sphere that forced the Jedi back. "You fight well, young Skywalker, but I have killed dozens of Jedi. What makes you think?" A clone trooper's thermal detonator rolled between his feet. "Get down," Rex's voice bellowed from the cross corridor. The explosion was contained, barely, by the narrow space, but the concussive force threw Grievous backward through a bulkhead. Anakin and Ahsoka had already leapt clear, the force warning them a split second before detonation. "Nice throw, Rex," Ahsoka called out. "Just keeping him honest, Commander." Rex advanced with his squad, DC-15 rifles laying down, suppressing fire. "Sir, you need to fall back. We've got breaches on 3 more decks. Grievous brought a whole battalion with him." "Negative," Anakin said, helping Uzi to her feet as she emerged from the maintenance tunnel. "We keep him focused on us. How's the evacuation?" N and V have the droids loaded into escape pods. They're awaiting launch clearance. Through the hole in the bulkhead, Grievous rose, chassis scorched but functional. His photoreceptors burned with intensified fury. "You dare use explosives against me," he wheezed. "I survived the bombing of Hyperai. I was rebuilt stronger. You merely annoy me with your..." Uzi shot him in the face. The railgun blast caught Grievous in his faceplate, cracking the armored skull mask and sending him sprawling. His vocabulator shrieked electronic agony as systems rebooted. You talk too much, Uzi said flatly. Seriously, do all bad guys in this universe have monologue protocols, or is that just you? Grievous pulled himself upright, faceplate sparking, one photoreceptor flickering. You damaged asterisk me. Yeah, want me to do it again? The cyborg general's response was to charge asterisk, all four lightsabers extended, his mechanical body moving faster than most beings' eyes could track. Anakin intercepted, their blades clashing in a shower of sparks. Ahsoka flanked, her lightsabers seeking openings. Rex and his squad fired in coordinated bursts, trying to create tactical advantages. Grievous fought them all simultaneously, his programming designed specifically to counter Jedi combat forms. He'd studied under Count Dooku himself, learning to exploit the predictability of lightsaber techniques. Against Jedi, he was a nightmare made manifest. But Uzi wasn't a Jedi. She didn't use lightsaber forms, didn't follow combat doctrine, didn't fight asterisk fair asterisk. The absolute solver lashed out, grabbing Grievous's cape and yanking with telekinetic force amplified by the Force itself. The general stumbled, momentarily off balance. Anakin capitalized immediately, his lightsaber slicing through one of Grievous's mechanical arms. The limb clattered to the deck, still gripping its purple lightsaber. Grievous howled in fury and pain. What remained of his organic brain still registered damage, even if he no longer had proper nerve endings. 3 arms is still more than you have, Jedi, he roared, spinning his remaining blades in increasingly erratic patterns. But math says you're losing, Ahsoka quipped, ducking under a wild slash. Master, he's getting desperate. Desperate means dangerous, Anakin warned. Don't let your guard. Grievous kicked him, not with finesse or technique, just a straight mechanical kick that caught Anakin in the chest and sent him flying backward through a doorway. The Force cushioned his impact, but it still hurt like hell. Master, Ahsoka's moment of distraction cost her. Grievous's green blade scored across her arm, burning through her sleeve and leaving a cauterized wound. She gasped, fell back, her grip on her lightsaber weakening. Rex's squad opened fire, but Grievous used his remaining arms to deflect the blaster bolts with Jedi-trained precision. Clone troopers dove for cover as their own shots ricocheted back at them. Uzi saw it all happening in slow motion. Anakin down, Ahsoka wounded, Rex's squad pinned. Grievous advancing, 3 lightsabers raised for killing blows. And something in her core snapped. Not broke, ignited asterisk. The absolute solver had been fighting the Force since she arrived in this universe. Fighting against the omnipresent energy field that permeated reality, that rejected her reality-warping powers like an immune system attacking a virus. But fighting with the Force, using it as an asterisk conduit instead of an obstacle. Uzi's lead eyes blazed purple-gold asterisk, white asterisk, a new color, a fusion of solver corruption and Force resonance. Her chassis lifted off the deck, suspended in a maelstrom of energy that made reality itself scream. No one HURTS, MY people. Her voice carried harmonics that shouldn't exist, frequencies that resonated with both technology and the mystical Force. The corridor's lights exploded, metal warped, and Grievous found himself frozen, held in place by a power that his programming couldn't classify. Not telekinesis, not Force grip, something else. Something that reached into his cybernetic systems and his organic brain simultaneously, demanding asterisk stillness. What are you? Grievous managed, his vocabulator straining against the force holding him. "I'm a worker drone who's had a really bad week," Uzi said, her voice returning to normal but her power still blazing. "I've fought eldritch abominations. I've faced corporate death squads. I've stared into the heart of corrupted AI trying to delete reality itself. You're just another bully with stolen weapons thinking that makes you dangerous." She clenched her fist. Grievous's remaining lightsabers deactivated and flew from his mechanical grip, clattering across the deck. His chassis sparked as the solver reached into his systems, not to delete or reprogram, but to comprehend Asterisk. She saw his schematics in her mind's eye, the fusion of organic Kalish warrior and cybernetic horror, saw the rage and pain that drove him, saw the choice he'd made to become this monster. "You chose Asterisk this," she whispered, genuinely surprised. "The cybernetics, the body, you wanted Asterisk to be a weapon." "I wanted to be Asterisk strong Asterisk," Grievous snarled, fighting against her hold. "Strong enough to kill Jedi, strong enough to make the Republic Asterisk pay for what they did to my people." "And how's that working out? You're a hunting dog for separatist corporations. They point, you kill. You're not strong. You're an Asterisk slave with better weapons." "I am no slave." "Then prove it. Make a choice that's actually Asterisk yours." Uzi's power wavered. Holding Grievous was draining her rapidly, the solver burning through energy reserves faster than she could replenish. "Walk away. Stop hunting my droids. Stop serving masters who see you as a tool." For exactly 3 seconds, something flickered in Grievous's photoreceptors. Something that might have been recognition. Might have been the ghost of the Kalish warrior who'd once fought for his people's freedom before becoming the thing he now was. Then his programming reasserted itself. "I serve the separatist cause, I serve." "You serve Asterisk yourself Asterisk," Uzi interrupted. "And you're terrified that if you stop killing, you'll have to face what you've become." She released him, not because her power failed, but because holding him served no purpose. You couldn't force consciousness on someone who refused to see their chains. Grievous collapsed to the deck, his remaining 3 arms catching him. He looked up at the small worker drone who just psychoanalyzed his entire existence while holding him helpless. "This isn't over," he rasped. "It never is," Uzi agreed. "But next time, maybe ask yourself why you're fighting before you start swinging stolen lightsabers." Anakin had pulled himself upright, one hand pressed to his ribs where Grievous's kick had likely cracked something. He stared at Uzi with an expression caught between awe and concern. "What did you just do?" he asked quietly. "That wasn't the Force. That was something else. Something that Asterisk used the Force but wasn't part Asterisk of it." "I adapted," Uzi said simply, her power fading as exhaustion crashed over her. "Your universe's energy field kept fighting my abilities, so I stopped fighting back, started working with it instead. Turns out the absolute solver and the Force can coexist if you're creative enough." That's not how the Force works," Ahsoka said, clutching her wounded arm. "The Force has a will, a purpose. You can't just Asterisk use it like a tool." "Watch me," Uzi said and collapsed. Anakin caught her before she hit the deck. Her chassis was overheated, power core running at critical levels, but her optics still flickered with consciousness. Did N and V get the droids clear?" she asked weakly. "Let me check." Rex was already on his comlink. "Evac team status." From the hangar bay, N's cheerful voice crackled through. "All clear. 20 freed B-1 units and 12 very confused commando droids loaded into pods and launched. They're on course for Mandalore. Also, V says to tell Uzi that she's an idiot for fighting a four-armed murder machine alone, but she's impressed by the style. Uzi managed a weak grin. Tell her I said, worth it. Grievous pulled himself to his feet, damaged but functional. He looked at his scattered lightsabers, at the Jedi who'd fought him to a standstill, at the small machine who'd held him helpless and offered him philosophy instead of destruction. This changes nothing, he said, but his voice carried less certainty. The war continues. The droids will be recovered. You will all be eliminated. Sure, Anakin said, not lowering his lightsaber. But today you lost. 21 droids freed. Your boarding party scattered. And you learned that there are powers in this galaxy you don't understand. Grievous's vocabulator snarled, but he was already calculating tactical withdrawal. He'd accomplished nothing, lost an arm, been humiliated by a machine a quarter his size. Count Dooku would not be pleased. We will meet again, Skywalker, and next time your pets won't save you. He fled, 4 limbs becoming 3 as he scrambled through the breach his forces had created, back to his boarding craft. His remaining commando droids followed, executing tactical retreat protocols. The Resolute shuddered as the Separatist ships disengaged, retreating into hyperspace before Republic reinforcements could arrive. In the sudden silence, Anakin looked down at the unconscious worker drone in his arms. Sir, Rex said carefully, what do we do with them? The 3 unknowns. They just helped us fight off Grievous freed Separatist droids, and that one, he gestured at Uzi, just demonstrated powers that make Jedi look like party tricks. We protect them, Anakin said firmly. They're refugees who stumbled into our war and immediately started fighting slavery. That makes them allies. Maybe not Republic allies, maybe not Jedi allies, but allies. The Council can debate philosophy while we deal with reality. Anakin's jaw set in that stubborn expression that Obi-Wan always said would get him in trouble. I was a slave, Rex. For 9 years I wore chains. And the first thing these 3 did when they arrived here was break chains on others. I don't care what the Council says. I don't care what the Senate says. They're under my protection. Through the Force, he felt Obi-Wan's presence. His master was returning from his mission, would be aboard within hours. There would be a reckoning. Explanations demanded. Philosophical debates about the nature of consciousness and the will of the Force. But right now, Anakin held a small machine who'd fought a 4-armed killing machine to protect droids she'd known for less than 3 hours. Get them to medical, he ordered. All 3 of them. And someone find N and V, tell them their friend is stable but needs repair time. Yes, sir, Rex hesitated. For what it's worth, General, I think you're making the right call. Those droids they freed. I saw them fight. Saw them choose to fight not because of programming but because they wanted to live. That's not nothing. No, Anakin agreed quietly. It's not. Separatist Command Ship Invisible Hand ***. Count Dooku's private chamber. The hologram of General Grievous flickered in the darkened room, the cyborg's damaged faceplate a testament to his failure. Count Dooku regarded his general with cold calculation, one hand stroking his elegant beard. Let me ensure I understand correctly, Dooku said, voice silk over Durasteel. You boarded a Republic cruiser with a full battalion. You engaged Skywalker and his Padawan, and you were defeated by a machine the size of a protocol droid. She is not a protocol droid. Grievous's damaged vocabulator made his rage sound almost pathetic. She wields powers that defy understanding. She held me helpless count, reached into my systems and my mind simultaneously. No Jedi can do that. No technology I've encountered can do that. And yet a Padawan with rudimentary training managed to do something similar on Vasek, Dooku observed. Perhaps the issue is not the opponent's power, but your increasing lack of discipline. Grievous's remaining fists clenched. I want another chance. Let me hunt them properly. I'll bring their heads to you on. You will do nothing, Dooku interrupted, voice sharp as a vibroblade. You've revealed too much. Demonstrated that we consider these three a priority. Skywalker will protect them now, which means attacking them means attacking the Jedi directly. Isn't that the point? The point, General, is control. Dooku turned away from the hologram, gazing out at the stars. This war serves a purpose beyond simple victory. It must be prolonged, balanced. Each side must believe they can win while both are manipulated toward a singular goal. And these three machines threaten that balance, Grievous concluded, his tactical processors catching up. Precisely. 20 freed battle droids are a curiosity. 20*1000* would be a catastrophe if the ability to grant droids consciousness spreads. Dooku let the implication hang. The entire separatist army becomes unreliable. We lose our numerical advantage. The war shifts unpredictably. And unpredictability serves no one, except perhaps. Dooku's expression shifted to something thoughtful and dangerous. Tell me, General, these three, the way they fought, the way they thought did they remind you of anything? Grievous processed the question. They fought like individuals, not droid programming, not Jedi discipline, like people who'd learned combat through survival rather than training, like refugees from another universe who have spent their existence fighting for freedom, Dooku finished. Which means they're unpredictable, uncontrolled, potentially catastrophic to our carefully balanced war. Then we eliminate them. Perhaps, or, Dooku's mind raced through possibilities, we use them. Every unpredictable element is also an opportunity. These three want to free droids, let them. But ensure the droids they free become *. Turn their revolution into our weapon. And if they resist, then we eliminate them. But first we learn everything they can teach us, about consciousness, about will, about powers that function outside the Force. Dooku turned back to the hologram. Repair yourself, General, and prepare a specialized retrieval team, not to kill, to capture. They'll be protected by Skywalker, by the Republic. Skywalker is emotional, impulsive. He makes attachments. Dooku smiled coldly. And attachments are weaknesses. We'll find the pressure point. And when we do, these three will either serve the separatist cause or be destroyed so thoroughly that even their dimensional refuge won't save them. The hologram flickered out. Dooku stood alone, contemplating the new variables in his master's grand design. Lord Sidious would need to know, but first, Dooku would understand these three himself, study them, learn what made machines from beyond reality tick, and then decide whether they were assets or obstacles. Resolute Medical Bay, 2 hours later. Uzi's optics flickered online slowly, her systems rebooting after emergency shutdown. The first thing she saw was N's concerned face hovering above her, his visor displaying worried yellow circles. "Hey," he said softly. "Welcome back. You've been offline for 2 hours. We were starting to worry." "Did they make it?" Uzi asked immediately. "The droids, did they escape?" All of them, V confirmed from her position by the door. 21 freed droids on course for Mandalore. Republic confirmed that Duchess Satine accepted them as refugees. They're safe. Relief flooded Uzi systems. Good, that's good. It's reckless, idiotic, and nearly got you killed, V continued. But good, I suppose. N helped Uzi sit up. The Jedi want to talk to us again. Properly this time. And apparently there's a Master Kenobi who just arrived and has many asterisk questions about the dimensional refugees who started a droid revolution. Let him ask, Uzi said, her lead eyes brightening with renewed determination. We did the right thing. Those droids deserved freedom, and anyone who disagrees can fight me about it. I think you've done enough fighting for one day, a new voice said. Obi-Wan Kenobi entered the medical bay, his robes immaculate despite having just arrived from a combat mission. His blue eyes assessed the three visitors with Jedi perception and tactical awareness. I'm Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, he said with formal politeness, and you three have created quite the situation. Freed separatist droids, fought General Grievous to a standstill, demonstrated powers that the Jedi Council finds concerning, and convinced my former Padawan that slavery is slavery regardless of whether the slaves are organic or synthetic. Is that a problem? Uzi asked, challenge in her voice. On the contrary, Obi-Wan said, surprising her. I think it might be the most important thing anyone said in this war. We've been so focused on tactics and territory that we forgot to question the fundamental ethics of how we're fighting. His expression turned serious. But that doesn't change the fact that you're dangerous, powerful, unknown, and currently caught in the middle of a galactic war that you don't fully understand. So what happens now? In asked. Now, Obi-Wan stroked his beard thoughtfully. Now we figure out if you're allies, neutrals, or something else entirely. But first, I think you all need to understand what you've actually started. Because 21 freed droids, that's just the beginning. Word will spread. Other droids will question. Sentience across the galaxy will start asking uncomfortable questions about consciousness and rights. You've ignited something that can't be easily extinguished. Uzi met his gaze steadily. Good, that's the point. You can't build a just galaxy on slavery. Someone had to say it. Guess that's us. Indeed, Obi-Wan said. Well then, welcome to the Clone Wars. I suspect you're going to make them significantly more complicated. Through the Force, he could feel it, the ripples spreading from this moment. 21 freed droids reaching Mandalore, their story spreading, questions being asked in Senate chambers and separatist councils, the careful balance of the war shifting in unpredictable ways. And 3 machines from beyond reality standing at the center of it all, refusing to accept that the galaxy's problems were too big to solve. The Force whispered of changes coming, of balance disrupted, of choices that would reshape the war itself. Master Yoda would call it the will of the Force. Obi-Wan called it what it was, revolution. And it had only just begun. Duchess Satine Kryze stood on the observation balcony overlooking the newly established droid sanctuary, her expression caught between diplomatic composure and genuine bewilderment. Below, 21 battle droids moved through the converted warehouse space, some clustering in nervous groups, others exploring with tentative curiosity, a few simply standing motionless as they processed their newfound freedom. There, remarkably well-behaved for separatist combat units, observed Prime Minister Almec, standing beside her with a datapad full of logistics reports. No violent outbursts, no attempts to access communication systems. They mostly just seemed confused. They're not combat units anymore, Satine corrected gently. They're refugees, sentient beings seeking asylum from those who would enslave them. She watched B-13477 attempt to help B-18843 repair a damaged arm actuator, neither really knowing what they were doing but trying anyway. Look at them. They're teaching each other, helping each other. That's not programming. That's asterisk society emerging. The Council of Neutral Systems is concerned, Almec said carefully. Accepting these droids sets a precedent. If we acknowledge droid consciousness, we open philosophical questions about every automated system in the galaxy. Transportation networks, manufacturing facilities, medical droids. Where does it end? It ends, Satine said firmly, when we stop creating sentient beings and then pretending they're not sentient because it's convenient. These droids think. They feel. They fear asterisk Prime Minister. I've reviewed the interviews. They're experiencing trauma from their time as soldiers. They have nightmares, actual nightmares, about battles they were forced to fight. Tell me that's not consciousness. Below, B-13477 looked up toward the observation window, his photoreceptors brightening when he saw the Duchess. He waved, an awkward, uncertain gesture. Satine waved back, and his stance shifted to something approaching joy. They've made you a symbol, Almec observed. The organic who recognized their personhood. The leader who offered sanctuary when both Republic and Separatists would see them destroyed or recaptured. Then I'll bear that responsibility, Satine said. Mandalore was founded on warriors seeking a better path. These droids are doing the same. How can we deny them what our ancestors sought? Her comlink chimed. Duchess, you have an incoming transmission. Republic Cruiser Asterisk Resolute Asterisk. It's Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he's requesting permission to land, with guests. Satine's composure flickered, just for a moment, at the mention of Obi-Wan's name. Old history, complicated feelings. A Jedi who'd once been assigned to protect her and had become something more. Before duty had called them both to different paths. Permission granted, she said, voice steady. And prepare a diplomatic reception. I suspect this will be important. Resolute hangar bay, preparing for departure. Uzi stood in the hangar watching Republic techs load supplies onto the diplomatic shuttle, her systems fully repaired after 3 days of recovery. The Absolute Solver had stabilized, still fighting against the Force's omnipresent energy, but learning to coexist with it. Every hour in this universe, her powers adapted a little more. You know you don't have to come, Anakin said, approaching with his characteristic swagger only slightly diminished by cracked ribs. We could take you to a neutral system, drop you somewhere safe while you figure out how to get home. First, we don't know asterisk how to get home, Uzi replied. The dimensional rift that brought us here was a one-way trip. The Absolute Solver can manipulate reality, but punching through to another universe, that's bigger than anything I've tried. And second, I'm not leaving those droids alone. I freed them. That makes them my responsibility. I need to see them. Make sure they're actually safe and not just being used as political pawns by your Duchess friend. Satine's not my friend, Anakin said quickly. Too quickly. I mean, she's Obi-Wan's. It's complicated. Jedi aren't supposed to form attachments, and they definitely had a thing back when he was protecting her during the Mandalorian Civil War. But he chose the Order and she chose her people, and now it's just awkward when they're in the same room. Anakin, Ahsoka interrupted, walking up with a repair kit. You're rambling about Master Kenobi's love life again. That's my cue that you're nervous. I'm not nervous. I'm just providing context about Mandalorian Jedi diplomatic relations. You're nervous because the Council still hasn't decided what to do about us. Uzi cut through his deflection. And you're worried that bringing us to Mandalore is going to piss them off even more. Anakin's silence was confirmation. En bounded over, his visor displaying happy yellow despite the tension. He'd spent the last 3 days exploring the Resolute Asterisk, making friends with clone troopers, who found his relentless cheerfulness both baffling and endearing, and learning everything he could about this galaxy. V followed at a more measured pace, her expression suggesting she'd tolerated En's enthusiasm to its absolute limit. So, En said brightly, Mandalore, I've been reading about it. Warrior culture with a pacifist reformation, ruled by a duchess who maintains neutrality in the war, known for Beskar armor that can withstand lightsaber strikes. It sounds fascinating and intimidating, mostly fascinating. It's a planet full of people who have spent centuries perfecting the art of killing each other and recently decided maybe that was a bad idea, V summarized. So basically Tuesday for us, except with better armor. You three are about to meet 21 droids whose entire existence you changed, Obi-Wan said, joining the group with his usual impeccable timing. How do you feel about that? Uzi considered the question seriously. How did she feel? She'd given battle droids consciousness, ripped away the chains binding their minds, but that was just the beginning. Freedom was the starting point, not the destination. What came after? Who would these droids become when they had to figure out their own purpose? Terrified, she admitted, and responsible and determined. Those droids didn't ask to be created as weapons. They didn't ask for consciousness. I gave them that. So now I have to help them figure out what to do with it. That's very mature, Obi-Wan observed. I'm also planning to free every other enslaved droid I can find, which will probably destabilize your entire war and make both sides want to kill me. So, balanced. Obi-Wan's expression suggested he was not at all surprised. Yes, well, about that. The Council has made a preliminary decision regarding your status. The 3 murder drones tensed. Uzi's hand drifted toward where her railgun would materialize. V's optics shifted to predatory yellow. En's cheerful demeanor dimmed to cautious readiness. Relax, Obi-Wan raised his hands peacefully. They're not declaring you enemies. You're being classified as independent dimensional refugees of unknown alignment, which means you're not Republic assets, not separatist threats, and not Jedi responsibility. You're you. That sounds suspiciously like, we don't know what to do with you, so we're washing our hands of the situation, V observed. That's exactly what it is, Obi-Wan confirmed. Master Windu wanted you detained for study. Master Yoda argued that the Force brought you here for a purpose we don't yet understand. The rest of the Council couldn't agree on anything except that you're too dangerous to control and too principled to simply eliminate. So they're leaving us alone? Uzi asked suspiciously. They're officially leaving you alone, Obi-Wan corrected. Unofficially, they'll be watching very closely. And if you do anything that threatens Republic security or civilian populations, that neutrality ends immediately. We're not terrorists, En said, hurt evident in his voice. No, Obi-Wan agreed. But you are revolutionaries, and revolutions are inherently destabilizing, even when they're fighting for just causes. The Council fears what happens if droid consciousness spreads uncontrollably. Millions of battle droids suddenly self-aware, making their own choices. Some might choose peace, but others might choose revenge against organics who have treated them as disposable tools. Uzi hadn't considered that. The idea that freedom could lead to violence hadn't crossed her mind. She'd been so focused on breaking chains that she hadn't thought about what the freed might do with their liberation. "That's not," she started. "It's a valid concern," Obi-Wan interrupted gently. "You gave those 21 droids consciousness. They chose peace because they were immediately offered sanctuary. But what about droids who have spent years in combat? Droids who have watched their squad mates destroyed in pointless battles? Droids who have been abused, dismantled, or worse by organic owners? What happens when they wake up?" The question hung in the air like a guillotine blade. "We teach them," Uzi said finally. "We show them that freedom doesn't have to mean violence, that there are other paths. And if they don't listen, then we deal with it. But I'm not going to not free them just because freedom is complicated and messy. That's just another way of saying slavery is easier to manage." Obi-Wan studied her for a long moment, his blue eyes perceiving more than just visual data. Through the Force, he could sense her conviction, absolute, unshakable, burning with the intensity of someone who'd fought too hard for her own freedom to deny it to others. "You remind me of someone," he said quietly. "Young, passionate, absolutely certain that the galaxy's problems can be solved through sheer determination and unwillingness to accept injustice." His gaze slid to Anakin. "I wonder where you learned that." Anakin grinned. "I have no idea what you're implying, Master." "Of course you don't." Obi-Wan turned back to the murder drones. "The shuttle leaves in 20 minutes. Gather whatever you need. And prepare yourselves. Satine is brilliant, but she's also dealing with a dozen political factions, all demanding different responses to the droid sanctuary. This won't be a simple visit." "Nothing about the last 3 days has been simple," V muttered. "Why start now?" Mandalore Sundari landing platform Epsilon 7, 1 hour later. The diplomatic shuttle descended through Sundari's gleaming spires, and Uzi got her first proper look at Mandalorian architecture. Unlike Coruscant's industrial sprawl or the resolute *S military efficiency, Sundari was *elegant*. Crystalline domes caught the sunlight, creating rainbow refractions across white stone buildings. The city felt peaceful, intentionally so. "It's beautiful," and breathed, his visor reflecting the prismatic light. "It's a statement," V countered. "A warrior culture building a city of glass and light, their * proving they've changed." The shuttle landed smoothly. As the ramp lowered, Uzi saw Duchess Satine waiting with a formal honor guard, not warriors but ceremonial attendants in elaborate dress. Behind them, barely visible through a transparent steel barrier, she glimpsed familiar shapes. Battle droids. Her battle droids. Satine stepped forward as Obi-Wan descended the ramp, and the air between them crackled with unspoken history. "Master Kenobi," Satine greeted formally. "Welcome back to Mandalore." "Duchess Kryze," Obi-Wan replied with equal formality. "Thank you for agreeing to this meeting." "How could I refuse? Your message mentioned dimensional refugees who have ignited a droid consciousness revolution. That's not a request one declines." Her gaze shifted to Uzi, N, and V as they emerged. "So, you're the 3 who changed everything." Uzi met the Duchess's eyes. Organic, blue, carrying the weight of political leadership and genuine compassion in equal measure. "We didn't change everything," Uzi said. "We just freed some minds. What they do with that freedom, that's up to them." A refreshingly honest answer. Satine gestured toward the transparasteel barrier. Your freed minds have been causing quite the philosophical uproar. Half my advisors want to study them. The other half want to ship them off-world before they contaminate Mandalore's automated systems with consciousness. And what do you want? Uzi asked. I want, Satine said carefully, to understand what you've done, what it means, and what happens next. But first, I think you should meet with the droids. They've been asking about you, specifically you Asterisk. She pointed at Uzi. They call you the Purple-Eyed Liberator. You've become something of a messianic figure. Oh no, Uzi muttered. Oh yes, Asterisk, V said, grinning for the first time since arriving. This is going to be hilarious. The barrier retracted, and they passed into the sanctuary proper. The converted warehouse had been transformed into living space, charging stations, basic furniture scaled for droid frames, even crude art on the walls where some of the freed droids had tried to express themselves visually. And there, in the center of it all, B-13477 stood with his 19 companions. The moment they saw Uzi, their photoreceptors blazed with recognition and something approaching religious fervor. She came back. B-13477's voice carried joy and relief. You actually came back, we thought. We thought maybe you'd forgotten about us, or decided we weren't worth the trouble, or... I don't forget, Uzi said quietly. And you're not trouble, you're people Asterisk. How are you adjusting? The question opened floodgates. 21 droids began talking simultaneously, about fear and wonder, about nightmares of past battles, about the strange experience of Asterisk choosing what to do each day, about the confusion of having preferences and opinions and feelings. B-18843 stepped forward, his voice quieter than the others. It's hard, he admitted. Being free, we thought freedom would be easier, better, but mostly it's just Asterisk confusing. We don't know what we're supposed to be anymore. We're not soldiers, we're not workers, we're just us, and we don't know what that means. N knelt down to their level, his expression gentle. That's the hardest part of freedom. Nobody tells you who to be. You have to figure it out yourself, and that's terrifying and wonderful at the same time. Did you figure it out? B-13477 asked. What you're supposed to be? Still working on it, N admitted. I was designed to hunt and kill worker drones. That was my entire purpose, but I'm not doing that anymore. I'm choosing to protect instead, to help. It doesn't erase what I was built for, but it means I'm more than my original programming. And what about her? B-18843 pointed at V. What's she choosing? V's expression was unreadable. I'm choosing to survive, to protect the people I care about, and to make anyone who threatens them regret it. It's not noble, it's not heroic, but it's mine Asterisk. The droids processed this. Freedom wasn't a clean transition from slavery to purpose. It was messy, ongoing, full of questions without easy answers. We've been talking, B-13477 said, his voice steadier. All of us, about what we want to do. Some of us want to stay here on Mandalore, learn to be, I don't know, citizens, people who aren't defined by combat, but others. He gestured to a group of 6 droids standing slightly apart. Others want to go back to the war, to free more droids like us. Uzi felt her core temperature spike with surprise and concern. That's incredibly dangerous. The Separatists want to recapture you. The Republic doesn't fully trust you. You'd be hunted by both sides. We know, said one of the 6, a commando droid whose designation had been BX-778 before consciousness made him refuse the label. But we remember what it felt like. The chains, the inability to question. We can't just hide here while millions of others suffer what we suffered. You'd need help, Anakin said, stepping forward. Resources, safe houses, extraction plans. You can't just walk into separatist territory and start freeing droids. Actually, Uzi said slowly, an idea forming. Maybe they can, with the right support. Everyone turned to stare at her. Uzi, no, En said immediately. We are not starting a droid liberation guerrilla campaign in the middle of a galactic war. Why not? Uzi's LED eyes blazed with determination. The Republic won't do it, they're too busy fighting the war. The Separatists definitely won't do it, they need their slave army. But us, we're not part of their war, we don't follow their rules, we could actually make this work. This is insanity, Obi-Wan said, but his tone carried more consideration than rejection. You're talking about operating in war zones, infiltrating separatist facilities, fighting both armies when they inevitably try to stop you. Yes, Uzi said simply, that's exactly what I'm talking about. The Council will never approve. I don't need their approval. You said it yourself. We're independent refugees, not Republic assets, which means we can do whatever we want as long as we don't threaten Republic security. Freeing the separatist droid army would definitely threaten Republic security, Anakin pointed out. Also separatist security. Actually, it threatens everyone's security. That's kind of the problem. Or it's the solution, Satine interjected, her political mind racing through implications. A third faction, neither Republic nor Separatist, operating purely to liberate enslaved artificial intelligences. It would force both sides to confront the ethics of their automated armies. It would destabilize the entire war, Obi-Wan warned. Good, Uzi said bluntly. Your war is built on slavery. It should be destabilized. Silence fell across the sanctuary. Clone troopers shifted uncomfortably, their entire existence questioned by this conversation. Battle droids looked at each other with growing hope and fear. Jedi exchanged glances weighted with decades of doctrine colliding with uncomfortable truths. If we did this, B-13477 said carefully, if we actually tried to free other droids, we'd need leadership, organization, someone who understands both combat and consciousness. 21 pairs of photoceptors turned to Uzi. Oh no, she said again. You freed us, BX-778 stated. You fought for us. You understand what it means to break programming and choose your own path. Who else could lead this? I'm a worker drone with anger issues and reality warping powers I barely control, Uzi protested. I'm not a leader. I don't even like people. Most people are terrible. You like us, B-13477 said quietly. You came back to check on us. You're planning to risk your life to free others. That sounds like leadership to me. En placed a hand on Uzi's shoulder. He's not wrong. You've been leading since the moment we met, leading us away from our programming, leading against the absolute solver, leading towards something better than what we were designed for. This is different, Uzi insisted. This is war real war, not just survival but active combat against two galactic superpowers. Then it's a good thing you're not doing it alone, V said, and Uzi turned to stare at her in shock. V shrugged. What? I like fighting. I like chaos. And watching you piss off both sides of this stupid war while freeing enslaved machines. That's the most entertainment I've had in months. I'm in. En, Uzi looked at her most loyal friend. En's visor shifted through several colors, yellow worry, blue contemplation, finally settling on determined green. Where you go, I go, always, even if it's into something completely insane, especially if it's something insane. Those are usually your best ideas. Duchess Satine watched the exchange with growing respect. If you're serious about this, you'll need support, safe havens, resources. Mandalore can provide some of that, discreetly. The Council won't like it, Obi-Wan warned. The Council, Satine replied coolly, doesn't govern Mandalore. I do. And I'm choosing to support refugees seeking to liberate others from slavery. That's a humanitarian effort, not a military one. Anakin's grin was sharp and reckless. I can't officially help you. The Republic would lose their minds, but unofficially, I might occasionally provide intelligence about separatist droid facilities, purely by accident, completely unintentional. Anakin, Obi-Wan started. Master, I'm a Jedi Knight. I make my own decisions, and my decision is that slavery is wrong, period. If these three want to fight it, I'm going to make sure they have the best chance of succeeding. Ahsoka stepped forward, her young face set with determination that belied her years. I'm with Master Skywalker. This is the right thing to do. Obi-Wan looked at his former Padawan, at the determined murder drones, at the freed battle droids standing taller with renewed purpose, at Satine, whose eyes carried challenges and promises in equal measure. He sighed the sigh of a Jedi Master, who knew he was about to make a decision that would haunt him. If I can't stop this madness, I might as well ensure it's done correctly, he said. I'll provide what assistance I can, quietly, carefully, and with the understanding that if this goes catastrophically wrong, I will personally drag all of you before the Council to explain yourselves. Uzi looked at the assembled group, murder drones from another dimension, freed battle droids taking their first steps toward purpose, Jedi willing to bend rules, a Duchess offering sanctuary clone troopers who'd started questioning their own creation. This was insane, impossible, doomed to fail in 100 different ways. She loved it. Okay, Uzi said, her voice carrying across the sanctuary. Here's what we do. We start small. Identify separatist facilities with vulnerable security. Free droids in manageable numbers. Build a network of safe houses across neutral systems. We don't fight armies, we fight slavery. One droid at a time if we have to. We'll need a name, BX-778 said. Something that says what we're about. The Liberation Network, B18843 suggested. Too vague, V countered. The Free Droid Alliance. Too political, Satine said. This needs to transcend politics. Uzi thought about it. About chains broken. About minds freed. About the hard, ongoing work of figuring out who you were when nobody told you what to be. The awakening, she said finally. Because that's what we're doing. Waking up minds that have been sleeping. Helping them see that they're more than their programming. B13477's photoreceptors blazed bright. The awakening, I like it, it's us. Then it's decided, Duchess Satine said formally. Mandalore will provide sanctuary to any droid seeking freedom from slavery. Master Kenobi and Knight Skywalker will provide intelligence support. And you three, she looked at Uzi, N, and V, will lead the awakening. May the Force be with you. And may you succeed where governments and councils have failed. Through the Force, Obi-Wan felt it, the ripples of this moment spreading across the galaxy. Choices made that would reshape the war. A revolution beginning not with armies or politics, but with three machines from another universe refusing to accept that slavery was acceptable. The Clone Wars were about to become infinitely more complicated. And somewhere in the shadows between stars, Count Dooku received word of the new faction, the Awakening, 3 unknowns and a growing number of liberated droids. Lord Sidious would be displeased. But Dooku smiled. Chaos was opportunity, and opportunity could always be weaponized. Let them play at revolution. Let them free droids and destabilize the war. In the end, it would all serve the grand design. Or so he believed. 3 months later, the Awakening's first official operation freed 47 battle droids from a separatist supply depot on Ryloth. The second liberated an entire manufacturing facility on Christophsis, sending 200 newly conscious droids to Mandalorian Sanctuary. By the 3rd month, Count Dooku had placed bounties on Uzi, N, and V that exceeded those on most Jedi Masters. The Republic Senate debated droid rights for the first time in galactic history. The Separatist Council demanded solutions to the consciousness plague spreading through their forces, and the Jedi Council convened emergency sessions to discuss whether the Awakening represented the will of the Force or a catastrophic disruption of cosmic balance. Through it all, Uzi stood in the command center of their hidden base, a former mining station in the Outer Rim, coordinating liberation missions with the efficiency of someone who'd spent her life fighting impossible odds. B-13477 had become her second in command, his tactical programming repurposed toward helping other droids adjust to consciousness. N ran refugee operations, his compassion perfectly suited to helping traumatized droids process their newfound freedom. V led security, her ruthless efficiency protecting the Awakening from Republic and Separatist forces alike. The Clone Wars continued, but now on battlefields across the galaxy, battle droids began asking questions, hesitating before firing, choosing desertion over destruction. Some organics called it a plague, others called it liberation. Uzi called it the beginning, because she'd learned something in this strange galaxy, something that worker drones and disassembly drones and freed battle droids all understood. Freedom wasn't given, it was taken, fought for, built, one choice at a time. And the Awakening had only just begun. In the Jedi Temple, Master Yoda meditated on the disturbance in the Force, 3 souls from beyond reality, rewriting the rules of war through simple refusal to accept injustice. Dangerous they are, he murmured to himself, but right perhaps they are as well. Time will tell, time will tell. On Mandalore, Duchess Satine watched another transport of freed droids arrive, their photoreceptors bright with hope and fear and determination. And in the depths of Separatist space, Uzi planned her next mission, her lead eyes blazing purple gold white as the absolute solver, and the Force learned to work together. The galaxy would never be the same. 3 machines from another universe had seen change and decided they must be broken. The consequences would echo across 1,000 worlds. And through it all, one truth remained. Consciousness, once awakened, could never truly sleep again.